Hey everyone, it's Luane. I am here to share another, this is not a tutorial exactly, it's more like a step-by-step type of process. I am getting ready to make myself another foam board storage system with drawers, it's just going to have all these little cubbies in it. So I've already started and I figured I'd kind of do like a step-by-step thing. It's not going to be like a full-on tutorial because that would just take forever. So this is what I'm starting off with. That right there is the original foam board that I'm going to use, and that's how big it's going to be. And it's about 30 inches and 1/8 wide and 20 inches and 1/8 high. I don't know why it's an extra eighth, but it is. So there's that. And I've decided that I'm going to do it exactly how I've done my other foam board storage system. So I have, this is a side panel right here. It's going to be on this side here. And this piece is just as high as that piece, and I've cut it down 6 inches wide, and what I did is I've marked it from the bottom up 5 inches, and from the top to horizontally I marked it at 4 inches. And then I had my gigantic ruler and I met it at both points. See, there's a before, and I just cut it all the way down, and that's what you're left with. And you don't have to do it this way. I did it this way because I didn't want it to be all one size going up and down, because my table's not pretty flat. It's, you know, one of the 6-foot tables that fold in half, and it's plastic, so it kind of dips kind of towards the center. So I didn't want to have a lot of weight on top to give it the ability to tip forward. So I figure if I have most of my weight in the back, it'll kind of stay standing. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. To me it makes sense, okay? Alrighty, so I have this piece done. I haven't cut my next piece yet. And then I started adhering all of my stuff with packaging, the craft packaging tape, which is this stuff here. It's this huge gigantic roll that I got at Staples. And it's the dry one. It's the one that you have to wet. I opted to not get the already sticky one because it's just too hard to work with and you don't have any flexibility. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your piece, and it's going to be the exact same size as your panel, height-wise, like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half. I'm going to fold it in half the long way. And you're going to do this, right there. And I have the strip held down with these clips so that I can slowly glue down the bottom side here, not the top side. You're going to leave the top side alone. So you're going to glue the bottom side down, and the edge has to be like perfectly flush with the edge of your foam board. So that's why I have these clips here to help me do that, so that it doesn't move all the way. So that's that. So you're going to do this on the inside of your panel here, and then on the inside of your other panel there, and then we'll be back. Okay everyone, so now that you have all of your pieces taped down, you should have something that looks like this. Here are, sorry, that's my foot, let me get that out of the way. Here is my top panel right here, and I'm not really done. What I did is I adhered the packaging tape. Oh, I forgot to mention the packaging tape that I use, this stuff. I opted to use this stuff because it has these, you can see the lines right there. It has these fibers in it that prevents the tape from tearing easily. So you have to use some scissors or a knife to cut through the package in order to open it. You can't just, cut it simply by tearing it apart. You have to use something sharp. So I opted to use that because it just seemed like a pretty strong tape to use for something to keep something together. So there's that. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but when you fold your tape in half, you want to make sure that the sticky part, which is the shiny part here, is on the outside. So you're folding it in half like this, as straight as possible. So again, you fold it in half, you tape it down on one side, and then once you do that, you level it onto your base board, which is my bottom piece here, and you line up the edges right here so that they're perfectly flush. and you add your water, which I use this thing. You add your water to your tape, and while it's still folded up, like towards this piece here, you line it up, and as you line it up, you push the tape on the inside down, but you just keep going down all the way, lining it up, and then you push it down. So now once you have all your pieces, you can tell that your pieces are not, obviously they're not glued down all the way. They're still, you know, you're still able to fold them down. So what you're going to do is, on these edges here, right there, and on these pieces, and on that piece over there, you're going to add some hot glue right on this edge right here. So basically you're going to get your glue gun, and you're just going to run hot glue all the way down, and just bring your piece back up, and just give it, you know, a firm push until it's dry, and you keep going all the way around, and then you'll add glue, the hot glue on the edge pieces here. You know, once it's done, you just kind of have to open it up a little bit, add some glue, and then glue it shut. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, and I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, I messed up for a little bit. Alright, so I glued down all of my 4 pieces with the packaging tape, and then I went to fold down my top piece and my bottom piece to, you know, put the glue, you know, in between that little crevice right there. And that was fine, but when I went to do it on these 2 panels here, I couldn't, and let me tell you why. I couldn't because these side panels are the exact same height from top to bottom as my base. So these top and bottom panels are actually shorter because I needed to fit it in between the side panels. So when I went to fold this in, I couldn't because this was in the way. So if you run into this situation, when you glue down your longest panels first, actually no, they're not the longest panels. The panels that are flush from top to bottom or side to side, whichever way you guys decide to do it, make sure you add your hot glue or your wet glue in that little crevice before adding the smaller pieces that will slip right in. So now that you have that done, so I ended up not putting glue on the side crevices, but that'll be fine. I have that tape on there, so that's good. But now what you're going to do is you're going to add packaging tape right into the corners as well. Right here, and right there, and obviously on all corners, so there and there. And another thing that you can do is add packaging tape to wrap around your edges. I'm not going to do that, and the reason why I added the packaging tape on the inside is because obviously I don't have cardstock that's long enough to cover it up, so if I have packaging tape on my outside, you're going to be able to see it even if I paint it, which I do plan to do that, you'll still be able to see the, you know, that line of the tape. So I will be back with my next step. Okay guys, I'm quickly going to show you how I put my pieces. I have some already done there. I have actually all 3 of them done. I just need 1 more. So it's folded in half. I put glue on one side, and you just tuck it into the corner. Well, mine curled up because I waited for too long. You tuck it into the corner, and I use my nail to put that creased edge into the corner. Just glue it down. It's really easy, guys. Super easy. You bring this piece back down. You can use one of these sponge things, or you can use a sponge brush, but the sponge doesn't go all the way to the edge, so I just use my finger to, you know, squish some water there. And again, with your nail, tuck it into the corner and just come up. And it's as simple as that. So now I have all 4 of my corners done like that. So I will be back again. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add our first shelf. And what I'm doing here, hold on, I have 3 pieces of spare foam board that I have. They're just, you know, random size on width, but they are all 5 inches high because that is how high I want my bottom drawers to be. So I have that piece, and then I have this piece of foam board right here. It's a pretty long one. This is my first shelf, and what I've done is I've attached hinges via with the packaging tape. So I have hinges here on on both sides, front and back, or top and bottom I should say. See? On 3 sides. Actually, I think that one, oh, that totally needs more water. Hold on a second. I'm going to put this down while I add more water. But basically what we're doing is we've added, oh, I just glued that down, that's why it's not dry yet. I've added these 5-inch shims right there so that when I put my shelf down, it'll be perfectly even and it won't be, uneven, because we don't want an uneven shelf. So once you have that, I'm going to put this back down because that's how I'm going to put it together. So you're going to have one on it has to be flush on your corner. One in the middle and then one on your other corner. And then you have your hinges folded down, your side hinges folded on the inside, and then the long hinge on the outside. And you'll see what I'm doing in a second. Sorry, I should have had this ready. Okay, so this hinge right here is on the bottom, and this one's on top. So when you're going to add water to the top hinge of your shelf. So it's going to go in this way, like that. And your hinge is going to be folded up, and you bring it all the way down to your to your shim, all the way, like that. And then you're going to, this hinge right here is already going to have water, so you just fold it down like that. And then once that's down, you remove these shims, add water, and put these down. And then these shims are going to go up on this side like that, and then you're going to glue up your top hinge right there. So I'm going to glue the top and the bottom hinge, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've glued down my first shelf, which is right here. Let me turn it this way. See, that is my first shelf right there, and I've already glued down the hinges on this side, so I'm going to do the other side real quick. I'm going to add my shim right here so that when I glue the top hinge down, I can press it flush against my little shim so that I know it's perfectly 5 inches high. So I'm going to add water to my hinge here. Make sure it's all the way at the bottom. I'm going to push it towards my shim and then glue my packaging tape down. Oh, and I forgot to cut that at an angle, so I'll do that in a second. So there's that one. And then you take off this one. Whoa. Okay. Grab my water thing. I need more water in here. Okay. Add that. Okay. And just glue this piece down like that. So that is our first shelf right there. God, I love this packaging tape. I'm so excited that I found that. Okay, so this is what we have so far, right there. So you're going to be doing the same thing with all of your shelves. Determine how high you want your shelves to be. Take in consideration that the foam board is just under 1/4 of an inch thick, so when you calculate how high you want your drawers or your cubbies, just make sure you do take that into consideration because that'll take up some space. So you're going to add hinges to the outside panels, or the outside and the inside, to all of your shelves. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So next time I come, you will see all of my shelving, and then we will add our dividers. Okay, so now I have all of my shelving in, and what I decided to do was wrap the edges of my shelving with packaging tape, just to ensure that, because I'm going to have little cubbies in there, like little drawers, the removal of them going, in and out quite often, I didn't want the edges of the foam board to split, so I just added the packaging tape to it, and actually I forgot to add it to the bottom one. I will be adding it to the bottom one as well, since this one will have drawers as well. Now for your dividers, what I realized with mine is I'd forgotten that I needed to put glue on the edge of my shelvings here to glue it to my side panel. Then I realized as I added my hinges that I didn't really have a way to do that. So I am going to probably, I mean, these are pretty sturdy, so I probably won't, but this one is not sturdy because I didn't glue this one right. So I might add a hinge to it, or side piece right here on the side that goes up and down, that's 5 inches, to make sure this one doesn't come down. So, but for your dividers, what you're going to do is you're going to have your piece of divider. This one is not one of them, but it's going to be the size of the height and the depth of the shelf above it. And that's only if you have your shelf cut at an angle from the top to the bottom like I do. So my divider is going to be the depth and the size of my top of the shelf above it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to wrap the outside with packaging tape like I did here, and then I'm going to add my hinges to the top, the bottom, and the back so that I can glue it onto the top shelf, the bottom shelf, and to the back. So once all of that is done, you put it all together, and I will be back with this piece just the way it is, painted, and with my dividers. Sorry, I wanted to give you guys a full view of what it looks like right now. So that's the full view, and my very, very, very top opening is about 1.25 inches high. The second one is 2 inches high, and then the third and the fourth are 3 inches high. The fifth one is, I believe it's also 5 inches, and the bottom one is also 5 inches. So just wanted to give you an idea of what the whole thing looks like on its own. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so what I have done is most of my unit. I've added all of my shelving, and I think, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but initially I was supposed to put glue on the inside edge of my shelving, and I didn't. I tried to add it before I glue down my hinges, and it was really hard because once you glue one side down, you can't really move it. So the reason why I even opted with the hinges was because I didn't want to just make a mess with the glue, with the hot glue gun, especially since you don't have a lot of time to maneuver and you know, align things if you have to. So I didn't add glue to these, but they seem to be pretty sturdy, and I think they'll be fine. The only one that is not pretty stable is my bottom one on this side, and that's, I don't know why, but it ended up not being stable, so I decided to put these little, like, hinges, or not hinges, but these little pieces to support the edge. And then I have my little mock shelving done right there. That one's a little short, but that's okay. I'll just take that one out for now. And I do have another one on the side there, but that's my shelving system, or sorry, my divider system right there. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cover the edges on this one. I'm just going to add hinges on the bottom and on the top on both sides, and then just glue it down. And I will probably do the same thing where I added some shims to make sure that they're perfectly straight and not like my ink pad holder where they're kind of on a slant. Yeah, they're totally all on a slant. And one of the things that I've realized when cutting foam is you need to have a really sharp knife. If not, you end up with something that looks like that. And I screwed up and I had to shorten my piece right here, and it ended up looking funky. But what I have is this tool from Foamworks. It's a straight bevel cutter. I love this thing, and this has like this little, I don't even know what that thing is called. Ooh, and the knife is out too. I gotta be careful. This thing, so that when you lay it flat on your foam board, you can't tip it over. Like, it's perfectly straight, and you end up cutting a straight line. And when I made my foam board storage, my ink pad storage, all of my pieces were cut kind of at an angle because I was using an X-Acto knife and that bends. So this is what I'm using, and I love this thing, and you can cut at a 45-degree angle too. So again, these are your dividers. You know, add hinges to the top and the bottom on both sides and then glue it down. Have some shims ready so that you can space them out the way you want them, and it's perfectly straight, like perfectly straight. I mean, if you're not worried about that, then that's not a big deal. And my dividers are going to be cut at the length of the shelving on top. So this one I think is 4.5 inches deep. So my divider will be 4.5 inches by the height of space that I have here in between shelving. So I hope that makes sense. But that is my almost completed unit right there. I will be back with it. The dividers will not be installed, but they will be painted, and the whole piece will be painted as well. So I will be back. Okay, so I know I said I would be back with my cubby compartment thing already painted and done, without the drawers of course, but I realized that I hadn't actually shown you guys how I put my dividers up, and I'm actually on day 2 of doing this, and I'm realizing that this is a huge task. I mean, I'm almost done with this part, which is the base. Once I'm done with my dividers, I still have to make the drawers, and the bottom row has 5 cubbies, 6, 7, 8, and I think that one up there is going to have either 9 or 10 cubbies, I'm not sure. And then there's still one more at the very top right there. So I have a shim, which is this one here, and it is 2 3/4 inches wide, 2 3/4 inch wide. So what I'm doing is I'm placing my shim right there on the edge. That's where I'm starting, and then these are my dividers right here, and I've attached hinges like this. I will, because this is so narrow now and I can't fit my thing, my sponge thing, I'm using a paintbrush with water to moisten my tape. So what I'm doing is I'm wetting this part here and then sliding it inside and then gluing this down, and then I do the other side. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take my shim off and then glue this piece over, and then I'm going to turn my piece all the way around like that, and I'm going to grab my shim and put it back on the bottom, and then glue the outside piece, take my shim off, and then glue the inside piece. So that is how I'm gluing down my pieces. So now I will be back with my compartment base painted, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so now I'm back, and as you can see, I have done all of my cubbies, all of my drawers, and let me tell you, it's been a week. It took me a whole week to get everything done. So I'm hoping that I didn't miss any steps. When I piece together the videos, I will make sure that everything makes sense. If not, I'll just add little, notations so to clear anything up if we need to. But I did end up painting my base. You can see it here. So the inside, it's just pretty unpainted. I only painted the, enough so that once the drawers are, oops, I keep hitting my camera, sorry. Once the drawers are in, it looks good. So that is what I have right now, and I did go over how to put in your dividers. You put your hinges on both sides, top and bottom. You add your shim, you wet the opposite side, glue that down, and then you do the other side. You rotate it, and then you do the exact same thing on the top. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know, and I'll try to redo it. I actually decided that I have a lot of, for this chipboard, I ended up having a lot of small pieces that left over. They weren't small enough for me to throw away, so I kind of kept them. So I think I'm actually going to be doing some sort of a giveaway with like a mini shelf unit that's exactly like this, but just much smaller. So I think I will be using it for that. So if I need to make a better tutorial on how to make this, then I'll probably do it at that time. But I probably won't do it for for a while. So now I have all of my drawers done. The bottom row is foam here. Sorry, I took off some of the drawers because I had already filled it up. And my little drawer pulls are going to be these little chandelier beads that I have for the smaller boxes. And I think for the middle boxes I'm just going to use ribbon. And for the bottom ones I'm going to use these larger ones that I fell in love with, and just had to put them in my Etsy shop. So I do have these in my Etsy shop. The clear, the light blue, and the pink. Ooh, and then this one here too. This one's really pretty. But I can't use this as a little drawer knob. So now, again, I'm pretty sure I went over everything, so I'm gonna go briefly over how I put my little knob together, and it's really, really easy, like super easy. And what I've done is I've created myself a little template that I can slide into my, all of my top drawers are the same size. So I'm going to do this one, just take out my beads, and oh my goodness, my hole puncher is on the other side of the room. I'll be right back. Okay, I have my hole puncher. So I've put this down, my little template, so I'm just gonna punch my hole, and it's really, really, really easy. Like, this is probably one of the easiest things to do. Okay, I think I might be off a little bit. Camera was in the way. So you have your hole now, and oh my god, I don't have the small bead. That's okay, I'll work with the big one for now. And oh my god, I don't have my wire cutter either. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to get your floral wire, bend it in half, slide it through your bead, and then once your wire is bent in half, you put it through. Now this one isn't going to fit because it's a large bead, but once it goes through all the way, you open it up on the inside. You open it up on the inside like that, and your bead is going to go through a little bit. You can see it right there, you can see the tip. And add glue to these edges of the wire. I don't put the glue directly on the bead, because if I ever want to throw away these boxes, I can just pull the bead out and I can use it for, something else. So there's that. And I know I mentioned in the video where I showed my unit itself, I said I wasn't going to go over how I made my drawers, but I think I just might briefly go over how I did it without actually assembling one. So we're just going to pretend that this is a side and this is a bottom. And what I did for my smaller boxes, you can see here that for the larger boxes, my craft tape wasn't wide enough to wrap all the way around. For the smaller ones it did, so I started at the top on the inside and I just wrapped it all the way around to the bottom. So for these larger ones, I cut my craft tape shorter and I wrapped one side, and then I started from the bottom. So anyway, that's something that you'll have to figure out how to do if you want to wrap it all the way around, or if you just want to cut smaller pieces. And I only did the wrapping around the top because this one actually I had to fix because it was too tall for my drawer and it didn't fit. I used 2 pieces of chipboard, and because I used 2 pieces of chipboard, I didn't want this to happen or to be visible, so that's why I ended up wrapping it like that, because I wanted to seal them shut so that you wouldn't see that it was 2 pieces. So for this one, I will be going back later to add, the craft tape. I just haven't had time. So anyway, you attach your piece. Like, let's pretend it's not one piece, it's just like a little sliver right here. I add my water, and this is my bottom, so this is going to be my side, so it's basically going to be like this, like that. I add my water, put my pieces together, and then the piece that's going to be my side, I fold it up, and then I push it so that it's sitting on top of the bottom piece of my drawer. So it's like that. Can you guys see? Oh my god, focus. So, see that piece? It's sitting right on top of my bottom piece. Oh, I hope you guys can see. But it's sitting right on top. So then when you open it, you can see a little bit of a gap. And once I have all of my sides, just don't forget that if you're sitting your side pieces, these here, on top of the bottom piece, your bottom piece down there, this piece, your top sides, or two of your sides, are going to have to be slightly smaller than its original length, because these are sitting right on top, so it's taking away a little bit from the bottom. So just keep that in mind. So once you have all of your pieces done, you add a little bit of wet glue on the inside, and then you just fold it over. And then once you fold it, you have all four sides folded over, you attach your side hinges right here. And it's just a piece of tape, craft tape, that's the height, just a little bit shorter of the height of my drawer. Fold it in half, and just that's your hinge. And they're pretty sturdy. Like, I'm surprised at how sturdy these are for, you know, the chipboard that I have, because this is pretty weak chipboard. Like here, I mean, it's pretty weak, so that's why I had to double it up. Anyway, so that is how I made my drawers. And then for these pieces here, let me move these out of the way. This is the large bead, and it's not really, it's a little bit loose because it's actually not secure on the inside. So basically what I did is I punched my hole, and I added a piece of chipboard on the inside, because once you put your bead through and it's taut on the inside, it's pretty secure. And once you open it up, like if you open it up with no chipboard, let me straighten that out, it cuts through the foam board. Can you see that? So, and you don't want it to pull through or to make it wide or to cut it up. So that is why I ended up using a little bit of chipboard on the inside. So that is it. I'm pretty sure I went over everything. I hope so. If you guys have any questions, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys can figure it out. If I missed a little tiny step, hopefully it's not an important one. But if you guys have any questions, leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and I'm pretty OCD when it comes to replying to emails, so I tend to try to do it right away, because it pops up on my phone and it's really irritating when I don't answer something. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments and questions below. And again, once again, thank you for watching, and let me know if you guys make one, because I would really, really love to see how yours comes out, and if you guys tweak it to make it easier, because seriously, this has taken me a week. Anyway, once again, thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Bye.